Hey Algebra 1, thanks for tuning in. This is your angle relationships practice quiz. So we're just going to go over a few correct answers. The first one talks about being complementary. Remember, complementary means 90 degrees, and the next one is talking about supplementary, and that's 180. Supplementary is a straight angle. If you're looking at the angle DGE, which is right here, to make it complementary, you actually have two options. You can do angle EGF, or you could also have said CGB because that's vertical from the EGF. So angle CGB. Same thing here. Name an angle that is supplementary to DGE. I'm going to just erase what I had before so we can see that a little bit clearly. When we look at the angle DGE again, supplementary just means another straight angle. So EGA would make it straight, angle EGA. Or you could also do the vertical one of that, DGB. Angle DGB. And just make sure you put the angle symbol in front of those. For number 2A, there's only one correct answer. The only angle that's vertical to angle 4 is angle 1. Remember, vertical just means across from, so here's angle 4, and across from that is angle 1. You do have two options for 2B, though. It says name an angle that is adjacent. Adjacent just means next to, so you could have said either angle 3 or you could have said angle 5. So there's lots of different possibilities here. As we go into number 3, for this solid figure, there's a lot of different possibilities. Remember, parallel lines, here's your hint right here. Parallel lines must be looking like train tracks, like two L's put together. So I'm just going to list a whole bunch of options here, and hopefully you matched up with those. If I didn't list yours, just make sure that they're two parallel lines or two L. An option for parallel lines is QR and NO. They're right here in the front. They're two parallel lines. Another option you could have is line RO and line QN. These lines above it just mean lines. Another one you could have line MN and PQ. And another one I found you could have line PR and line MO. For the next one, we were going to be looking at perpendicular. And perpendicular means they have to intersect like this. That's the sign for perpendicular. So here are a few options. Option 1, I said QN and NO, they make an L shape right there. PQ and PM also are perpendicular. Noticing these perpendicular lines have a letter in common. Another one I chose, RO and RQ. And then last but not least, I chose an ON and OR. So just again, making sure your lines create an L. The last one talks about a skew, and just keep in mind that a skew line is not parallel and not perpendicular, and actually use the two little symbols. So here are just a few examples of maybe some skew lines. There's a lot of possibilities here, okay? First one would be line PR and line NO. If we go back up here and look at PR, here's PR and here's NO. Notice they are not parallel and they're not perpendicular. So you're just picking two random lines, essentially. Making sure they're not touching too. Another one we could have QR and MO. Here is QR and here is MO. Again, not touching in two different playing fields. Parallel though to our previous skew lines. Another option, we could have NO and PM. Again, here is NO in the front, and then PM is here in the back. So again, not parallel or perpendicular. Okay, you might have had a different set than me. Just make sure that they're not parallel and not perpendicular as well. The next section we're looking at is just types of angles in a transversal. Naming a pair of corresponding angles. You have four options here. Remember, corresponding are in the same area, so I would pick, like, for instance, I could choose angle 1 and angle 5. I could also choose angle 3 and angle 7. Again, keeping my angle symbol in front of it. I could choose angle 2 and angle 6. And then I could also choose angle 4 and angle 8. You do need to group them with their pair. You only had to name one pair, but these are all correct answers. For 5A, it talks about alternate interior. That just means on the inside, but alternating. So your two options, you could have angle 3 and angle 6, or you could have angle 4 and angle 5. If you look back up here, you see where 3 and 6 are located. 3 and 6 are located on the inside, alternating. Same thing with 4 and 5. The last one talks about alternate exterior. That's the same thing as alternate interior, except alternating on the outside. So your two options could be angle 1 and angle 8, or angle 2 and angle 7. Here's 1 and 8, alternate exterior. They're also equal. And then 2 and 7, alternating on the outside. Okay. Next page we have, we're just identifying congruent angles. This one should be easy. The measure of angle 1 is 59 degrees. So 3, 5, and 7 are all going to be 59 degrees. That means the other ones are just going to be the supplement of that. I just took 180 and subtracted 59 and I got 121. So that means all of angle 2, angle 4, angle 6, and angle 8 are all 121 degrees. Also notice that 2, 4, 6, and 8 are all the obtuse angles. For number 7, it would be helpful to write an equation. So what I said for this one, I know they're complementary, so added together they're going to be equal to 90 degrees. Angle A is 21 more than twice B. So what I did is I said the measure of angle B can just be equal to x, but the measure of angle A can be 21 more than twice angle B, so that'd be 2x plus 21. So now I'm ready to put these two together and make an equation. So I just wrote 2x plus 21 plus x equals 90. I'm going to combine like terms. I get 3x plus 21 equals 90, and then subtract 21 from both sides. So I get 3x is equal to 69, and then I'm going to divide both sides by 3. I get x is equal to 23, but I'm not going to stop there because it says don't solve for x, find the measures of both angles. Well, I know angle B is x, so the angle B is equal to 23 degrees. But to find angle A, I actually have to plug this in. So 2 times 23, which is 46, and then plus 21 is going to give me 67. So the measure of angle A is 67 degrees. So this should be your final answer, 23 and 67. You could have also taken 23 and subtracted it from 90 because they're complementary angles, and 90 degrees, meaning two angles added together, are complementary. You're going to do something similar for number 8. Writing an equation probably would help you. This time it says angle B is 8 less than 3 times angle A. So we can just say maybe the measure of angle A is x this time, but the measure of angle B would be 3x minus 8. And since these are supplementary, when I add these two together, they should be equal to 180. I know 3x and x makes 4x, so 4x minus 8 equals 180. I just put those like terms together to speed along the process here. Now I'm going to go ahead and get x by itself. First thing I'm going to do with that is add 8 to both sides, so I get 4x is equal to 188, and then divide both sides by 4. I get x is equal to 47. Again, I'm not going to stop there because I need to plug x back into these. The measure of angle A should be easy. Angle A should be 47 automatically, but for measure of angle B, I'm going to do 3 times 47 and then subtract 8 from that, and I would get 133. So angle B is equal to 133. Okay. The next few are just solving for B. Again, for this one in number 9A, I did 90 minus 24, and I get 66 degrees. 9B was easy because B and 149 are equal to, so B is equal to 149 degrees. Those are alternate exterior. If I keep going here, I get number 10. What I need to do here is add 106 and 35 together. I get 141. And then a triangle has 180 degrees, so I'm just going to subtract 141 from 180, and I get 39 degrees for number 10. Going on to your next page, these are a little bit, take a little bit more time because you want to use an equation to find the value of x. So what I did here is I wrote an equation first, adding all of these together, and then equaling the degrees of a triangle, which is 1. Once you have your equation written, then you can go ahead and combine like terms. 5 plus 45 plus 90 is 140. So I have 8x plus 140 is equal to 180. And then I'm going to subtract 140 from both sides. I get 8x is equal to 40. So that means when I divide both sides by 8, x is equal to 5. And it does say just find x. I'm going to stop at x. For number 12, kind of the same deal. These angles, noticing it's a triangle with a straight line, but this straight line makes 180 degrees. So you would do 6x and then plus the x plus 12 equals 180. Combine like terms, we get 7x plus 12 equals 180. And then go ahead and subtract 12 from both sides. Oops. We get 7x is equal to 168. Dividing both sides by 7, x is equal to 24. For number 13, these are going to be equivalent to one another because these are corresponding angles. So I just wrote 5x plus 3 equals 38. I'm going to go and subtract 3 from both sides to get 5x is equal to 35. So x is equal to 7 for number 13. And 14, notice this one goes all the way around. So these all should be equal to 360. So I wrote my equation like this. X minus 122 plus 32 plus 300 equals 360 degrees because it's making a full circle. I'm going to go and combine my minus 122, my plus 32, and my plus 300, and I'm going to get 210. So x plus 210 is equal to 360, and then subtract 210 from both sides. I get x is equal to 150 for number 14. 15, you're just writing an equation to find the measure of angles, so not just stopping at x, but then plugging x back in. With these angles, they're both vertical, so I know that they're equal to one another. So 4x minus 15 is equal to 2x plus 17. And my main goal is just to get x's on one side, so I'm going to move my x's to the left and my constants to the right. So I'm going to get 2x is equal to 32. And then when I divide here, I'm going to get x is equal to 16. If you stopped here, you wouldn't get credit because we're finding the measure of each of the angles shown. So now I have to go back here and plug in x to maybe one of these. I just did it to this first one. So 4 times 16 minus 15. That's going to give me a total of 49 degrees. You could have also plugged it in here. 2 times 16 is 32 plus 17, also 49 degrees. So you just want to make sure that you have 49 written down for number 15 and not 16, which is what x was equal to. The last page, we're just talking about your vocabulary terms. Two figures that are exactly the same size and shape are called congruent. For number 16b, a line that crosses two or more other lines, that one is called a transversal. For number 17, this symbol means perpendicular. 17b, this symbol means parallel. Remember, you can look at the two L's in parallel. That's a symbol for parallel. And then for 18a, this symbol with the squiggly line above the equal sign means congruent. Okay, that's going to conclude your practice quiz for angle relationships. Thanks so much for tuning in, and good luck on your quiz.